Have you ever noticed how some people don't just dislike you? They want to tear you down? They don't argue with you openly, don't fight you directly, but in the shadows they plant seeds of doubt, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But behind the scenes they work tirelessly to see you crumble. But what if I told you that the second you stop falling for their traps is the second they start losing control? These people don't just hate you, they want to destroy you. It's like a wildfire spreading silently under the surface, waiting for the right moment to erupt. At first, it's just smoke, barely noticeable, but by the time you see the flames, it's already consuming everything in its path. Or think of a vulture circling above. It doesn't attack, doesn't strike, it just waits patiently, watching, hoping for your downfall. That's how they operate, not through open attacks, but through calculated destruction. Because while they are busy plotting, you have a choice: fall into their trap or rise above their schemes. And when you refuse to engage, that's when the frustration sets in. When you stop playing their game, their plans start to collapse. So how do you recognize these people before they do real damage? Without fear, without paranoia, without second-guessing yourself. Stay until the end, because the last one will change everything. Let's get number one started. Number one, they spread lies to tarnish your reputation. Let's talk about one of the most calculated and damaging tactics of someone who doesn't just hate you but actively wants to destroy you. They spread lies to tarnish your reputation. This isn't just casual gossip or harmless rumors. This is an intentional attack. They don't just want to dislike you in silence. They want others to turn against you. They twist the truth, exaggerate your flaws, and paint a picture of you that is completely false. Here's the truth. Someone who spreads lies about you isn't just trying to hurt your name. They're trying to isolate you, weaken your influence, and make sure others don't see your true value. They know that once people doubt your character, you have to fight an uphill battle to regain their trust. And that's exactly what they want, to make you feel powerless, alone, and constantly on the defensive. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Heraclitus once said, "Character is fate. Protect yours at all costs." What does that mean? It means that no matter how many lies are spread about you, your true character will always shine through if you stay consistent. People who know you, who have seen your actions, will recognize the difference between the truth and the deception. The key is to protect your integrity, not waste time chasing down every rumor. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Daniel, was a respected leader in his workplace. He worked hard, built great relationships, and earned his position through integrity. But one day, a jealous co-worker started spreading false stories about him. Whispers that Daniel had only succeeded because of favoritism, that he wasn't really as competent as he seemed. At first, Daniel wanted to fight back, to confront every lie and clear his name. But then he realized something. His best defense wasn't arguing with liars. It was continuing to be the person his real supporters knew him to be. And guess what? Over time, the truth surfaced. The people who mattered saw through the lies. The co-workers' attempt to tarnish Daniel's reputation eventually backfired, and they lost credibility instead. Because at the end of the day, lies are temporary, but character is permanent. So how do you handle people who spread lies about you? First, stay calm. Reacting emotionally only gives them more material to twist. Second, let your actions speak louder than their words. Keep being who you are, and the truth will reveal itself over time. And third, don't engage in their game. Defend yourself when necessary, but don't waste your energy trying to convince those who are determined to misunderstand you. At the end of the day, a person's reputation is built over years, and no lie can erase that with a few false stories. Stay true to your character and let their lies crumble under the weight of your truth. Because integrity always outlasts. Number 2, deception. Number 2, they manipulate you emotionally. Let's talk about one of the most insidious tactics used by someone who doesn't just dislike you but wants to control and destroy you. They manipulate you emotionally. Unlike open hostility, emotional manipulation is covert, calculated, and designed to break you from the inside out. They don't attack you directly. Instead, they use guilt, fear, and shame as weapons to weaken your confidence and make you question your own reality. At first, it might not even seem like manipulation. Maybe they act like they're concerned about you, saying things like, "I just worry about you sometimes. You don't seem like yourself." Or they make you feel guilty for things you shouldn't even apologize for. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. Over time, these subtle emotional games start chipping away at your self-worth. You begin to doubt yourself, your decisions, and even your own emotions, and that's exactly what they want. For you to seek their approval, rely on their validation, and slowly hand over control. Here's the truth. They don't want to support you. They want to break you down so you depend on them. The moment you start second-guessing yourself, the moment you start feeling like you need their reassurance, they won. You become trapped in a cycle where they create the insecurity and then act like they're the only one who can fix it. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "He who controls his emotion controls his destiny." What does that mean? It means the moment you stop letting them manipulate your emotions, you take back your power. Their words only have control over you if you allow them to. The more emotionally stable you are, the less power they have over your mind. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Ryan, had a friend who constantly played with his emotions. Whenever Ryan made a decision that didn't align with what this person wanted, they'd respond with guilt-tripping. "Wow, I guess I just don't matter to you anymore." Or when Ryan started focusing on his own goals, this friend would say, "You've changed. You're not the same person I used to know." At first, Ryan would feel guilty. He'd start questioning himself, wondering if maybe he was being selfish. But then he took a step back and realized the only time this person had a problem with him was when he stopped putting them first. So how do you handle emotional manipulators? First, recognize the pattern. If someone constantly makes you feel guilty, fearful, or ashamed for making your own choices, that's manipulation. Second, stop seeking their validation. You don't need their approval to live your life. And finally, control your emotions. The less you react to their tactics, the less power they have over you. At the end of the day, manipulation only works when you allow someone else to control your emotions. The moment you reclaim your mind, their games lose all effect. Stay strong, trust yourself, and never let someone else dictate your worth. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 3, they provoke you to ruin your image. Let's talk about one of the most calculated and dangerous tactics used by someone who doesn't just hate you but wants to destroy you. They provoke you into reacting emotionally so they can paint you as unstable or irrational. This isn't an accident. It's a carefully designed trap. They want you to snap, to lose control, to lash out, because the moment you do, they win. At first, it seems like they are just being difficult. Maybe they make passive-aggressive comments, push your buttons in small ways, or deliberately embarrass you in front of others. You try to ignore it, but they keep going, poking at your weaknesses, waiting for you to break. And when you finally react, that's when they strike. Suddenly, you're the one who looks like the problem. They step back, put on an innocent face, and act like they were the victim all along. Here's the truth. This isn't about conflict. It's about control. They don't care about the argument itself. Their goal is to manipulate how others see you. They want to ruin your image, to make you look unstable, unreasonable, or even dangerous. And the more you fight back, the more power you give them over your reputation. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." What does that mean? It means the strongest response to provocation is self-control. When someone tries to bait you into an emotional reaction, the most powerful thing you can do is not give them what they want. Your silence, your calmness, your refusal to engage, that is what truly defeats them. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Sarah, had a co-worker who was always trying to undermine her. He'd make rude comments in meetings, dismiss her ideas, and even take credit for her work. One day, after weeks of frustration, Sarah finally snapped. She called him out in front of the entire team, raising her voice in the process. And just like that, the co-worker played the victim. He calmly said, "Wow, Sarah, I don't know why you're being so aggressive." The room went silent. No one remembered all the times he had provoked her. They only saw her outburst. But here's what Sarah did differently moving forward. Instead of reacting, she started observing. Every time he tried to provoke her, she stayed completely calm. And guess what? It drove him crazy. He had no ammunition, no way to twist a story against her. Over time, people started seeing him for what he really was, a manipulator. So how do you handle people who try to provoke you? First, recognize the setup. If someone is deliberately trying to get a reaction, that's your first sign to disengage. Second, master your emotions. They can't control your image if you stay calm. And finally, let your actions speak louder than their words. When you refuse to stoop to their level, their attempts to ruin you fall flat. At the end of the day, your reputation isn't built in a moment of anger. It's built through consistency. When someone tries to provoke you, remember, your silence is stronger than their words, and your self-control is more powerful than their manipulation. Stay calm, stay focused, and never let them dictate your story. Number 4, they pretend to be your friend to gather information. Let's talk about one of the most deceptive tactics used by someone who doesn't just dislike you, but is actively plotting against you. They pretend to be your friend, not because they care, but because they want access to your thoughts, your plans, and your weaknesses. At first, they seem genuinely interested in your life. They ask about your goals, your struggles, and the things that matter most to you. They listen just enough to make you believe they are trustworthy. But here's what's really happening. They're not collecting memories. They're collecting ammunition. Here's the truth. They don't want to support you. They want to find ways to use your words against you. Maybe they twist something you said and spread it around. Maybe they expose your vulnerabilities at the worst possible time. Or maybe they just hold on to what they've learned, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "Do not reveal all of yourself to everyone, for not all have good intentions." What does that mean? It means not everyone who smiles at you is your ally, not everyone who listens cares, and not everyone who asks questions deserves answers. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Rachel, had a co-worker who always acted like her biggest supporter. He'd ask her about her long-term career plans, her frustrations at work, and even her personal life. She thought he was just being friendly, but one day she overheard him repeating her words to their boss, but twisted in a way that made her look bad. He wasn't her friend. He was a spy. So how do you deal with people like this? First, be selective with your trust. Just because someone listens doesn't mean they care. Second, test their intentions. Share small, insignificant details and see how they react. If they gossip or twist them, you have your answer. And finally, keep your real thoughts guarded. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. At the end of the day, a person who truly supports you won't need to dig for your secrets. If someone is overly curious about your life but never shares their own struggles, take it as a red flag. Protect your words, protect your plans, and most importantly, protect yourself. If you believe this video can help others, give it a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show it to more people. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content coming your way. Share your thoughts in the comments. I will definitely reply. Number 5, they try to isolate you from supportive people. Let's talk about one of the most dangerous tactics used by someone who doesn't just hate you but wants to destroy you. They try to isolate you from supportive people. This isn't random. It's a calculated move. They don't just want to hurt you. They want to cut you off from anyone who could defend, uplift, or remind you of your worth. At first, it might be subtle. Maybe they make concerned comments about you to others, little remarks that plant doubt. I don't know, something about them feels off lately. Or they twist situations to make you seem untrustworthy, unreliable, or even disloyal. They create drama where none exists, whispering half-truths behind your back. And the worst part? It works. Slowly, you notice people distancing themselves, treating you differently, looking at you with doubt in their eyes. Here's the truth. Their goal isn't just to damage your reputation. It's to make sure you're left without allies. Because once you're alone, once you don't have anyone in your corner, you're easier to manipulate, easier to weaken, easier to break. They know that isolation makes you vulnerable, and that's exactly what they want. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "Associate only with those who will make a better man of you." What does that mean? It means that your strength lies in the people you surround yourself with. The right people will see through manipulation and stand by you. The wrong ones will believe the lies and walk away. Either way, you learn who is truly in your corner. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Emily, was thriving in her career. She had great relationships with her co-workers and a solid group of supportive friends. But then a toxic person in her workplace started whispering rumors about her. Nothing big at first, just small, innocent comments like, "Emily seems different lately, don't you think?" Or, "I heard she's been saying things about you." Slowly, people around her started to doubt her. They started pulling away. She felt the shift, the coldness, the way people hesitated before speaking to her. And the worst part? She didn't even know why. But instead of breaking, Emily stayed true to herself. She didn't chase explanations or beg for acceptance. She focused on the people who truly knew her. And over time, the truth surfaced. The manipulators' lies started unraveling, and the people who truly valued Emily came back. Because that's the thing, real relationships don't crumble over whispers. So how do you handle someone trying to isolate you? First, stay aware. Recognize when someone is trying to turn others against you. Second, don't play their game. The more you defend yourself against lies, the more it seems like you have something to prove. And third, hold on to those who truly know you. The right people won't be swayed by manipulation. They'll see the truth for themselves. At the end of the day, isolation is a weapon, but only if you let it work. The people meant for you will always find their way back. Stay strong, stay true, and never let someone else decide who you are. Number 6, they undermine your confidence. Let's talk about one of the most dangerous tactics used by those who don't just dislike you but actively want to see you fail. They plant doubts in your mind, making you question your abilities and self-worth. At first, it might seem subtle. Maybe they disguise it as helpful advice or constructive criticism, but over time you start noticing a pattern. Every time you take a step forward, they find a way to pull you 2 steps back. Here's the truth. Their goal is not to help you improve. It's to weaken your sense of self. They want you uncertain, second-guessing your choices, hesitating before making decisions. Because the moment you lose confidence in yourself, the moment you start doubting your own potential, that's when they have control over you. That's when they win. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are disturbed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your perception of it." What does that mean? It means that the words, actions, or negativity of others only have power over you if you allow them to. If someone is trying to break your confidence, their words don't actually define your abilities. Only your reaction to them does. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Jake, was starting his own business. He was excited, motivated, and ready to take the risk. But there was one person in his life, a so-called friend, who constantly made little comments like, "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Or, "Most businesses fail, you know." At first, Jake brushed it off, but over time these words started creeping into his mind. Every decision he made, he started questioning himself. Am I actually good enough? What if I fail? That doubt wasn't natural. It was planted, and that's exactly what this person wanted. But here's what Jake did. Instead of letting that doubt consume him, he remembered something. His confidence wasn't something others could take away unless he handed it to them. He chose to stop engaging with negativity, to trust himself, and to move forward despite the doubts others tried to instill in him. And guess what? His business took off, and the same friend who once tried to undermine him, they suddenly had nothing to say. So how do you deal with people who try to weaken your confidence? First, recognize it for what it is. If someone's words make you doubt yourself more than they encourage you, that's not support. That's sabotage. Second, trust yourself. Your abilities, your path, and your potential are not determined by someone else's opinion. And finally, silence the noise. Stop seeking validation from people who don't want to see you win. At the end of the day, confidence is your greatest shield. If someone is trying to break it, it's because they see your power and fear what you're capable of. Hold your ground, trust your path, and never let their doubts become your own. If you've watched the video this far, don't forget to leave a comment with a thank God and give it a like if you enjoyed the content. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more interesting videos. I hope you find inspiration in them and that we continue learning together. Thank you for your support. Number 7, they will stop at nothing to see you broken. Let's talk about the most extreme form of hatred, When someone doesn't just want to see you struggle, but want to see you completely broken. This isn't simple jealousy. It's not just a grudge. Their ultimate goal isn't just to dislike you, it's to destroy you. They don't want to see you succeed. They don't even want to see you exist in the same space as them. They want you defeated, irrelevant, or completely removed from the picture, and they'll stop at nothing to make that happen. At first, it might seem like petty competition. Maybe they undermine you, spread rumors, or take small actions to slow you down. But over time, you start to realize it's deeper than that. Every move they make is calculated. They celebrate your failures, twist the truth, and try to weigh you down emotionally. If they can't control you, they'll try to destroy your reputation. If they can't ruin your name, they'll try to drain you mentally, hoping you give up on your own. Here's the truth. They don't just want to see you lose. They want to see you surrender. They want to see you exhausted, defeated, questioning yourself. Because to them, your strength is a threat, your resilience is a problem, and the only way they win is if you give up first. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "Strength is found in enduring hardship without surrendering your virtue." What does that mean? It means true strength isn't about fighting back. It's about standing firm. When someone is determined to break you, your greatest weapon is your refusal to fall. They can spread lies. They can try to isolate you. They can push you to your limits. But if you refuse to crumble, if you stay steady in who you are, they lose. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Daniel, was targeted by a former colleague who couldn't stand his success. This person did everything, spreading lies, sabotaging opportunities, turning people against him. At one point, Daniel considered walking away. But then he remembered something. His strength wasn't in fighting back. It was in enduring. He stayed true to himself, kept his focus, and refused to let their actions define him. And in the end, his enemy destroyed their own credibility. So how do you handle people who will stop at nothing? First, don't play their game. They want you to react emotionally. Don't. Second, stay focused on your own path. The more energy you give them, the more power they have. And finally, endure without surrendering. Let your strength be your statement. At the end of the day, the only way they win is if you break. Don't give them that satisfaction. Stand strong and watch them destroy themselves instead. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights.